Hey YouTubers, all my friends out there that's following my projects that I do. This is my swimming pool. Isn't it lovely? About 8 months ago, my pool is very old. Almost 30 years old, I think, according to the records we're able to find. And it's near impossible, without throwing about $5,000 at it, to keep it a swimming pool. So my next thought was, and you're hearing my chickens in the background, my next thought was to convert it into a koi pond. But the more I've gotten into prepping and off-grid living concepts, the more I realize this pool can serve another purpose, and that's a fish pond and still remain a swimming pool. And some of the first things I've done, about 8 months ago, I tried getting this back to be a swimming pool. And I was just throwing tons of chemicals in here, tons of money for the chemicals, and plus back-breaking work that really did not pay off. As soon as that hot Florida sun hit it, it turned back into a algae pond. So here's what we're doing. For 8 months now, we have had no chlorine, no shock, no chemicals whatsoever in this pool. But what we have noticed is the mosquitoes have moved into the pool, and our frogs have moved into the pool. I also have a dessert plate sized bullfrog living in this pool. So from there, I'm like, okay, they're all doing great in this pool. Let's take it to the next step. So one of the first things I've started collecting is, it's called duckweed. Now, as you can see, these little tiny ones, these are the young ones that are coming in. These are the older ones. And then I also have a peace lily I've had for years, and it's hugely neglected because it was sitting on this patio. As you can see, the patio is pretty torn up. It was sitting on this patio with no water most of the time. So it's now sitting on my first step into the pool. I've got my feet in the pool. The pool is totally safe to be in, and so the peace lily is one of my first adds to the pool. And one night I found it had been pushed, and it's heavy. There's weight to it. I mean, there's some weight to it because it's full of dirt and water and plant roots. But I had come out one day and it was laying in this area, so we fished it out, put it back up here on the patio deck, and of course it started dying off. Now it's been back in the water for just a few days, back on the step, and look at that beautiful green leaf right there. It's coming back, and I think it's going to do great. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to take it out of the pot and make 2 pots of it, because this is pot bound, and it has been pot bound for years. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing, hopefully today yet. But one of the other things we've done, all the way over there, I'm going to take you over there. Hopefully I don't drop my camera in the pool. We have found in our local lake something called water lettuce. It is edible. So the neat thing between the duckweed and the water lettuce is any type of fish that will eat vegetation will eat these items as well. If they get to be overwhelming in this pool, but I've got a lot of pool to fill up, if it gets to be overwhelming, it can be chicken food as well as people food. To me, this is a no-brainer. One of the other things we've done, and me and my granddaughter Allie have been working on this for several days, we have a little stream that runs behind my house. We've gone down there and we have collected, look at all the duckweed. The duckweed is doing wonderful. One, we've collected the duckweed from there. As you can see, we've got quite a bit going on, and I believe it's multiplying, which is our goal. If you see the little ripples in the pool, those are my minnows or tadpoles. But I think the season's too late for tadpoles. But I definitely have about probably 60 to 80 minnows in here, but they're little guys that we found in our local creek out back. And so far, no floaters, so I haven't lost any of them. So that tells me they're doing fairly well. One of the other things, and this has cost me absolutely no money to do, the first thing I did was turn off that expensive pool filter. The next thing I did was found these blue crates. And these are, oh, this is on my swim seat. So there's about 2.5 foot of water right here that my foot's on. Okay. And it's definitely got some green stuff growing down on the bottom, but I can see 2.5 feet deep. The goal eventually will be to see at least 4 to 6 feet deep. This is about a 9-foot deep pool in the dead center of the pool, which is good because the fish have a place to get away from the herrings that are here, and they will hunt them because they try and sit on my porch now if the dogs don't chase them. So what I've done this morning is I've put these blue crates in on my swim seat. This is a swim seat right down here. So I put these on, and that raises the plants up to, they got about 2 inches of water at the root base. These are blueberries, another edible. And I found out just the other day, blueberries are a bog plant. And what does that mean? They like wet roots. So this is an experiment. These are not healthy blueberries at all. So I figured, well, there's no loss in trying to put them in here and keep them well watered, which is one of my downfalls, is keeping things well watered, and seeing if they rally and come back for me. If they do, then I'll be adding more blueberries to the pond. And the nice thing is, if these do well, they'll provide food for us and the wildlife, because this pond's going to draw in wildlife. Even though we're in a lanai, there's no screens left up there, and that was done on purpose. When they blew off, we didn't replace them, because again, you're looking at about $2,000 to $3,000 to replace the screen lanai. Money we are not putting into this property because we're putting everything into the off-grid property right now. The other thing is, I have had these potted. I did this years ago just because I love ferns. Didn't realize how messy they could be, but I got ferns, and I think they're called bird's nests in there. And these have just been sitting in a corner on my back porch, totally neglected. So, ferns also like wet feet. So it's just a shallow little pot. It's not a big pot, as you can see, but it's now in the pond. And now these potters will stay wet, which means the ferns should thrive. Now, will this plant, this bird's nest, like it? We don't know yet, but we'll find out. If they do, great. If they don't, it's no loss. I've probably got hundreds of them around the yard. And I had 2 of these, so on either side I've added them. Now, one of the things that I know this will benefit, and the sun's coming out, so I got to put my camera down to the water. One, the fish will be fertilizing the plants. The plants will be helping to oxygenate the water for the fish. There is no water flowing in this pond. So the goal is to get 30 to 50% of this pond covered in something growing. My goal is to get some more of that lettuce, the water lettuce, and more duckweed. That might happen today yet as well. And to keep adding native fish to this. But I'm also going to add some ornamental fish, like maybe 6 koi at some point in time. And hopefully, if I remember, I'll bring you guys along for the fish ads as we add them. Now, one of the things that are already in this pool that we caught and we added just in the last week are crayfish. They're only this big though. They're little guys. So they are bottom feeders, and I'm praying that they will thrive in here and do well, because another thing, if they thrive and they breed, crayfish are also very, very edible. So we're going to have edible fish, edible plants, and edible crayfish. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I have absolutely no pump going, no money being spent. I'm just pulling resources that we had around the house to get this going. And so far I'm real excited, and I'm real happy that we haven't had to spend money. We're working on making some floating styrofoam trays to float on the surface, and we might tie them all together as a raft. I don't know what we're doing yet, but if I get any of those in the water today, I'll show them to you. We have elephant ears coming My daughter's bringing me some elephant ears and whatever she could pull out of her little ornamental pond. And we'll bring that to you when that happens. But right now, this is where I'm at. This is the new project. Even though it's really not new, it's just been a pool sitting for many, many months. Now it's developing into the pond. And the goal is to maybe get some bluegills, some sunnyfish, maybe a couple catfish, and maybe a few tilapia if they'll all live together, which I think they do because they do live in local ponds together. We're going to put as much in here as is safe, and then once they develop into edible fish, we can sit right here on our own back porch and eat fish or catch fish. Go fishing, catch them, grill them up, and eat them, and that's the goal. Alright, as soon as we see anything else going on here, ha ha ha, look at this, guys. I've got a floating tray. And all this is, we knew we wanted to do aquaponics. So, where my husband worked, we were able to get these trays, which it was great if you have the neti pots to cut out the holes and set your neti pots in. But we don't have the neti pots. But what I do have is a lot of window boxes. I got a bunch of these. So we're going to try and float them. And in the process of floating them, it's all an experiment. I needed something to put the elephant ears in when they arrive. So when they arrive, they will go in here. And that will be the very beginning of the aquaponics. Do I need to move water at some point for aquaponics? I believe I will. And when I get to that point, I will take it to the next level. Because we are going to invest in a solar water pump. The biggest one that they make and we can afford. Which I don't know what that's going to be at this point. But then we will start making some waterfalls. Or pumping up into beds. Because the goal is to put the little $10 swimming pools along this edge. And fill them with the clay balls. And then that'll be an all new vegetable garden because I'm limited on yard space. What you see up here is pretty much my yard space other than a little bit over here, which is my dog run. It's where the dogs go out and do their business. And a very little bit, you can see my water containers there, my stacked water. And I have a little bit of garden space right there. Everything else from this point on goes downhill. So my growing potential is very, very limited. And I have to worry about erosion on that back hill, which I'm going to be researching what to do about that here in the very near future. But this is where I'm at. This is our goals. And this is the new project. So I'm going to let this guy, going to tuck him in here because I don't want him to float away. Not yet. Oh. And this one actually broke. So we just got a hanger. And we tied it back together. Just, again, it's an experiment. Everything's an experiment. If you don't try it, you don't know what you're going to have. I'm a go do it, go try person. And I'm married to someone who says, that won't work. Well, I've just disproved it. It works. Look at that. It's floating. So, I'll bring you back if I have any more to share. Have a blessed day.